Aslam o alaikum. There will be moments in your life when people you trusted most walk away. Sometimes it's without warning, sometimes after years of loyalty and love, and other times when you needed them the most. It hurts, it shakes you, it makes you question your worth, your decisions, your purpose. But know this, when they walk away, Allah stays with you. His presence is not like that of people. He doesn't grow tired of you. He doesn't abandon you when you're broken. He doesn't require perfection for you to be worthy of His love. In fact, it is often in your most shattered state that He draws you closer to Him. Life will test your heart with loss. People will disappoint you, they'll forget your kindness, they might betray your trust, but Allah never forgets. Not a tear goes unnoticed, not a silent prayer goes unheard. He sees you when you're strong and when you're struggling. He knows the nights you couldn't sleep because of the pain, and even in that silence, He is near. Sometimes He removes people from your life not to punish you but to protect you. Sometimes what feels like rejection is actually redirection. And often He will allow your heart to break so that you realize it was too attached to the creation and not enough to the Creator. You see, people can only give you what they have, and their love, their presence, their loyalty, it's all limited. Temporary, conditional, but Allah's love has no limits. His mercy has no expiration. His doors remain open even when everyone else has shut theirs. He doesn't leave when you mess up. He doesn't walk away when you fail. He waits patiently, lovingly, until you return, and when you do, He welcomes you like you never left. When others make you feel like you are too broken to be loved, He reminds you that your brokenness is not a barrier but a bridge to Him. Some people are meant to walk with you only for a part of the journey, and when their chapter in your life ends, it's okay. It doesn't mean your story is over. It just means that Allah is preparing you for something better, something purer, something lasting. He knows what's hidden, He knows what you don't, and His plan is always better than your pain. The storm in your life may not make sense now, but trust the one who controls the wind. Sometimes it is in loneliness that you find sincerity. In abandonment that you discover worship, in heartbreak that you uncover tawakkul, true reliance on Him. When they walk away, instead of asking why did they leave, ask what does Allah want to teach me in this moment? Maybe He wants to teach you that your strength is not in having people around you, but in having Him beside you. That your peace is not in someone's presence, but in your prayer. That your joy is not in the voice of another, but in the remembrance of your Lord. Because when you have Allah, you have everything, and when you lose Him, nothing else matters. The heart wasn't created to be filled by people. It was created to be filled by the one who never leaves. Sometimes we hold on to people out of fear. We fear being alone. We fear not being understood. But when you place your trust in Allah, you begin to understand that solitude with Him is more fulfilling than company without purpose. You begin to taste the sweetness of a private conversation with your Lord. You begin to heal, you begin to grow, and you begin to realize that not everyone who exits your life is a loss. Some are blessings. Some are tests, but all are part of a greater wisdom you may not yet see. If someone left you, know that you were not abandoned by Allah. If someone hurt you, know that your tears are seen by the most merciful. And if your heart feels empty, know that Allah can fill it in ways no human ever could. All you have to do is turn to Him, speak to Him, cry to Him, ask Him, and trust that He listens, trust that He knows, trust that He cares. So the next time someone walks away from you, do not chase after them with desperation. Walk toward your Lord with conviction. Let your heartbreak become your doorway to Him. Let your loneliness be the reason you build a stronger connection with the one who never leaves your side, because in the end, the only true companionship that never fades, the only love that never fails, the only presence that never disappears is Allah. Would you like the full expanded script for any of the keynotes? People may leave you in your lowest moments, but Allah never abandons the sincere heart. This truth is often forgotten in a world where reliance on others is encouraged, where relationships are idealized, and where comfort is sought in the presence of people. But life teaches over and over again that people are not always dependable. Their love, though sometimes sincere, can fade. Their loyalty, though heartfelt, can be tested, and their presence, though cherished, is not permanent. What remains, what endures beyond every test, is the closeness of Allah to the sincere servant. There is something deeply humbling about being left alone. At first it feels like abandonment, the silence becomes deafening, the presence you were once comforted by disappears, friends who promised forever go quiet. Those you held in high regard may disappoint you. Even family, with all their blood ties and history, might not fully understand or support you in your most vulnerable hour. But it is precisely in these moments that your heart is redirected to the one who has never left your side. Allah is not like the creation. He does not walk away when times are hard. He does not get tired of your sadness or turn his face from your tears. In fact, it is in your lowest moments, when your voice breaks from crying and your heart trembles in fear, that he comes closest. The sincere heart, no matter how wounded, is always known by its longing. A heart that continues to turn to Allah even after being broken is a heart that is loved by him. When sincerity remains even after loss, that is a sign of strength. That is a heart being purified. Sometimes Allah allows certain people to leave not to punish you, but to empty your heart of false attachments. So often, we depend on people for what only Allah can give: peace, assurance, love, stability. And when those people walk away, we feel like we have lost everything. But in reality, we are being given the opportunity to discover the one connection that was always meant to be unshakable. The Qur'an reminds us that Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein. This closeness is not symbolic, it is real. It means that even when the world misunderstands you, when no one seems to hear your pain, when your prayers seem to be answered with silence, Allah is near. His knowledge of your struggle is perfect. He is not distant or indifferent. His timing is not rushed by your panic. He knows what you're going through, and he is watching how your heart responds. Will you turn to him or turn away? Will you cling to his mercy or crumble under the weight of the trial? One of the signs of a sincere heart is that it remains soft even after hardship. It does not grow bitter. It does not turn its back on the one who never turned away. There are people who, after being hurt, build walls around themselves so thick that not even light can enter. But the believer learns to build a window instead of a wall, a window that lets in the light of hope, the warmth of faith, and the comfort of knowing that Allah sees everything. The sincere heart learns to rely not on people for healing, but on prayer. It cries in sujood rather than in silence. It reaches for the Qur'an when the soul feels empty. It finds peace in the names of Allah, each one a reminder that no pain is unseen, no effort is wasted, and no tear is shed in vain. Even when you feel like you have nothing left, your sincerity in turning to Allah is everything. That sincerity is more valuable than wealth, than companionship, than reputation. It is the reason your du'as are heard. It is the reason Allah grants you peace in moments others would be destroyed by. Sincerity does not mean you don't feel pain. It means you don't let that pain push you away from the path. You cry, but you still pray. You feel alone, but you still believe. You may not understand the plan, but you continue to trust the planner. Many people are only present in your life for a season. They come and go, and sometimes even those you thought would never leave do, but Allah remains. His mercy is constant. His guidance is continuous. His love does not fade, and this is what makes faith so powerful. It is rooted not in what is temporary, but in what is eternal. The sincere believer finds comfort in the constancy of their Lord. They understand that while the creation may forget, the Creator remembers. While the world may turn cold, his mercy is warm. While the people may grow distant, he draws near. There will be nights when you lie awake wondering why someone changed, why someone you gave your best to could not see your worth, why someone who once held your hand now walks past you like a stranger. But those questions are not meant to break you. They are meant to bring you closer to the one who never stopped seeing your worth, to remind you that your value was never tied to their recognition. You are not less because someone failed to love you right. You are still a servant of Allah, still worthy of his mercy, still able to rise again with more wisdom and more strength. When sincerity becomes the foundation of your relationship with Allah, your dependence on people begins to lessen. You still love, you still care, but you no longer crumble when someone leaves. You learn to hold people in your heart, not above it. You begin to understand that the one who truly stays is the one who created you, and in that realization is a freedom the world cannot offer. You are no longer held hostage by someone's approval. You are no longer imprisoned by fear of rejection. You become centered, grounded, aware that no matter what happens around you, your inner world is anchored by Tawakkul, complete trust in Allah. This journey of loss and discovery is not easy. It requires patience. It requires faith. It requires you to forgive not only others, but also yourself. To forgive yourself for depending too much, for trusting blindly, for forgetting to place Allah first. But every sincere step you take back toward Him is blessed. Even your smallest whisper is heard, even your most broken dua is answered, and even your deepest sorrow is seen. So when people leave you in your lowest moments, remind yourself that Allah did not. He is still there. He is still listening. He is still waiting for you to come to Him, not because He needs you, but because you need Him, and there is no shame in that need. It is the most beautiful form of dependence, the kind that liberates rather than enslaves, the kind that gives rather than takes, the kind that lifts you rather than leaves you. If your heart is sincere, even in pain, even in confusion, even in weakness, then you are already on the path to healing. The presence of Allah is not something you have to earn with perfection. It is something you are gifted through your sincerity. People may leave, they may forget, but your Lord remains loving, forgiving, watching, guiding, and that is more than enough. True strength is found in realizing that Allah's companionship is constant, unlike human relationships. People come into our lives, sometimes as blessings, sometimes as lessons, and at times as tests. While their presence may bring joy, comfort, or even pain, there is one reality we must come to accept. No one can stay with us forever. Even the most loving of friends, the most loyal of companions, and the most sincere of hearts cannot be with us every moment, nor can they fully understand what lies within us. They are limited by time, by emotion, by distance, and by their own struggles. But the moment a heart awakens to the presence of Allah and recognizes that His companionship never ends, a powerful shift takes place inside. That is where true strength is born. When a believer finally detaches their sense of worth from people and connects it instead to their Creator, they begin to rise above the unpredictable nature of human bonds. They stop depending on others for validation, for happiness, or for stability. They stop feeling broken when someone forgets them, and they stop falling apart when someone walks away. The reason is not arrogance or indifference, but because their soul has found a higher source of comfort, one that is not affected by mood swings, misunderstandings, or disappointment. Allah is always there, always near, always watching with compassion. He knows every single thought before you speak it. He sees every tear before it falls. He understands the wounds you haven't told anyone about. That kind of closeness cannot be matched by anyone. This realization doesn't happen overnight. It usually comes after experiencing the fragility of human attachment. Perhaps someone you loved disappointed you. Maybe someone you trusted turned away from you. Perhaps you gave your heart to a person only to be met with silence when you needed them most. These moments are painful, but they serve a deeper purpose. They redirect you to the one who has never let you down, the one who has always provided, always forgiven, always answered your calls even when you forgot to thank Him. When the veil of illusion is lifted and you see that people are not meant to be your anchor, but Allah is, it strengthens something deep inside you. You begin to understand that your worth is not in how others treat you, but in how you are seen by the one who created you. Strength through Allah's companionship doesn't mean you never feel lonely. It doesn't mean you don't need friends or human interaction. Rather, it means you are no longer desperate for it. You are no longer defined by it. You can enjoy the company of people, but not be shattered by their absence. You can love sincerely, yet not fall apart if they walk away. Because in your heart is a sanctuary that only Allah resides in, a space that gives you peace even when the world feels chaotic. That is the beauty of His companionship. It calms without needing words. It heals without requiring explanations. It fills the heart without needing anyone else to do it. So many people walk through life carrying invisible burdens. They try to find relief in others, they seek approval, they chase affection, they try to earn loyalty, and still they feel empty, still they feel unseen. It is only when they begin to turn inward, when they start to speak to their Lord in the quiet moments of the night, that they begin to understand what it means to be truly known. Allah knows the real you. The one behind the smile, the one beneath the surface, the one who tries so hard but sometimes feels like giving up. He knows and still loves you. That love is not based on your perfection, but on your sincerity. That companionship is not temporary, it is eternal for the one who turns to him with a genuine heart. There is unimaginable strength in knowing you are never truly alone. Even if the whole world misunderstands you, if Allah understands you, you are safe. Even if everyone walks away, if Allah is with you, you have all you need. There is a kind of courage that comes from knowing you are held, supported and guided by the one whose knowledge has no limits and whose mercy has no end. You walk through trials not with fear but with faith. You face uncertainty not with panic but with trust. You lose people but you don't lose hope, because you know the one who wrote your story is still writing it with wisdom. In your darkest hours, remind yourself that Allah is not unaware of what you're going through. Every hardship is known, every prayer is heard, every effort is recorded. People may not notice your patience. They may not appreciate your struggles, but your Lord sees it all, and He never forgets, He never ignores. When you rely on Him, when you speak to Him, when you cry to Him, He responds not always by changing your circumstances immediately, but by changing you from within. He makes your heart stronger, your mind clearer, your soul more resilient. That is true strength, the kind that cannot be taken away, no matter what you lose in this world. Building a relationship with Allah takes time. It takes intention, it takes effort, but it is the most fulfilling relationship you will ever have. You begin to talk to Him about things you wouldn't tell anyone else. You begin to thank Him for blessings you used to overlook. You begin to rely on Him for decisions instead of running to people for opinions. And slowly you find that you are not as shaken by life's storms. You are not easily broken by disappointment. You are not consumed by what others think or say. Because you have built a foundation on something that doesn't move, the nearness of your Lord. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life to give you more time with Him. Sometimes He allows you to feel alone so you can feel His presence. These are not punishments, they are invitations, invitations to rediscover your worth, to reconnect with your faith, to remember that He is enough. The strength that comes from this is quiet but powerful. It doesn't need to shout, it doesn't need to prove itself. It shows up in your patience, in your calm, in your ability to rise again even after everything tried to bring you down. When you wake up in the morning and begin your day by thanking Allah, when you speak to Him before sleeping, when you turn to Him before turning to others, you are building that bond. You are strengthening the rope that will keep you steady through every challenge. And every moment you choose Him over despair, every moment you remember Him instead of breaking down, you grow stronger. Not because life is easier, but because your connection with the most powerful is deeper. So let your heart take rest in this truth, that you were never created to be carried by people. You were created to be carried by your Lord. Let that carry you today. Let it carry you through the grief, through the loneliness, through the silence. Let that companionship be your comfort, your courage, your certainty. Because when Allah is with you, you are never without strength. Every difficulty is an opportunity to connect with Allah more deeply. Trials are not a sign that you have been abandoned or that your prayers have gone unanswered. They are reminders. They are wake-up calls for the heart that may have become distracted or distanced. In times of ease, we often forget. Our hearts get consumed by the world, by comfort, by the illusion that we are in control. But when hardship strikes, when what we relied on is taken away, when we are shaken and made to feel vulnerable, the soul begins to turn again to its origin. It begins to cry out, to search, to return. That is the mercy hidden within hardship. It brings the heart back to where it belongs with Allah. You may feel overwhelmed by what you are going through. You may question why it is happening, why it feels so heavy, why you feel so alone. But if you pause and reflect, You will realize that some of your most sincere prayers came from your most painful moments. The tears you shed in the darkness of night, the whispers you made when no one else knew what you were battling, the moments of silence where your heart called out even when your lips couldn't speak, those were your most powerful connections with your Creator. That is why the believer begins to see difficulty not as a punishment but as a path back to Allah, a reminder that this world is temporary and that true peace can only be found with Him. In difficulty, the heart becomes softer. The ego is humbled, the illusions we clung to begin to fade, we stop pretending that we have everything figured out and begin admitting our need for help, and it is in that moment of vulnerability, when pride drops and sincerity rises, that Allah's mercy descends. He is near to the broken-hearted, He listens to the desperate, He responds to those who have no one else to turn to. The pain you feel is not ignored, it is not in vain. Every moment of hardship is a moment where your heart is being shaped, your sins are being forgiven, your soul is being refined. There is wisdom in every trial. Sometimes it teaches you patience, sometimes it teaches you gratitude, sometimes it removes people from your life who were not good for your faith, sometimes it strengthens your character. You may not see it now, but every difficulty is preparing you for something greater. It is building your capacity for empathy, for resilience, for deeper faith. It is training your heart to depend on Allah in a way you never did before. And once your heart has tasted that dependence, once it has learned to turn to Him first and not last, you will find peace even if the problem remains. This connection with Allah during difficulty is not just about asking for relief. It's about building a relationship. It's about waking up in the middle of the night to pray, not because you want the hardship to end quickly, but because you miss speaking to Him. It's about reciting Qur'an not just for barakah, but because the words comfort your soul. It's about realizing that He has always been there, even when you forgot, and that now, through this test, you have been brought back to that awareness. One of the most beautiful things about this journey is that Allah rewards you not just for how you react, but also for simply enduring. Every breath you take in pain, every tear that falls from your eye, every thought that says, Ya Allah, help me, is recorded. It matters. It is building your status in the next life. It is cleansing you in this one. And it is bringing you closer to the one who truly knows what you are going through. No one else may understand the full extent of your burden, but He does. He sees the weight in your chest, the questions in your mind, the emotions you don't have words for. And still, He remains with you, guiding, supporting, and patiently waiting for you to keep turning to Him. The Prophet faced more difficulty than anyone, and yet he never stopped praying, he never stopped trusting. He cried to his Lord, he complained only to Him, and he found strength in that connection. That is the example we follow, to find refuge in Allah when the storm hits, to remember that no matter how deep the darkness feels, the light of His mercy can reach you. And often that light shines the brightest when everything else has faded away. The dunya is not meant to be a place of constant ease. It was never designed for permanent comfort. It is a place of tests and trials where the believer is shaped and molded into something better. And the most powerful change happens not in moments of luxury, but in moments of struggle. When you wake up despite the sadness, when you smile despite the pain, when you give despite feeling empty, these are acts of strength. Acts that are only possible when the heart is connected to its Creator, and it is in those moments that you are nearest to Him. So do not fear difficulty. Do not think that your hardship means you are cursed or forgotten. You are seen, you are heard, and you are being drawn closer with every challenge. If you knew how many sins were being erased, how many rewards were being written, how much closer you were getting to Jannah through your patience, you would thank Allah for the test. You would welcome it, knowing it is not here to break you, but to build you. And as hard as it may be now, there will come a day when you look back and say, that was the moment I truly found Allah. Hold on to hope. Speak to your Lord not just in words, but from your heart. Tell Him your fears, your sadness, your hopes. Ask Him to give you strength to guide you through this storm, and then trust Him. Trust that He is doing what is best for you, even if it doesn't feel like it. Know that no pain is wasted, that no prayer goes unheard, and that no sincere heart turns to him without being received with mercy. Sometimes it takes being broken to become whole. Sometimes the things we lose are replaced with things far better. And sometimes the greatest gift is not the removal of the hardship, but the relationship with Allah that it brought us to. That is a gift the world cannot give, a connection that does not fade, and a peace that does not depend on circumstances. Keep walking through your hardship with faith. Keep praying even when your voice shakes. Keep believing that your Lord is closer than you think, because He is, because He always has been, because He always will be. And that is what transforms difficulty into a doorway, one that leads directly to the heart of your Creator. Gratitude is one of the most powerful states a believer can adopt. It transforms not only how we view our lives, but also how we experience every moment, whether joyful or painful. Gratitude is not limited to simply saying Alhamdulillah when something good happens. True gratitude lives in the heart, flows through the tongue, and shows in our actions. It is an attitude that defines a believer's outlook, a lens through which the world becomes clearer and the heart becomes calmer. When we choose to be grateful, we are not denying our hardships, we are choosing to focus on the mercy of Allah that surrounds us even in hardship. Many people wait for everything to be perfect before they feel thankful. They wait for the problem to be solved, for the pain to pass, for the success to come, but true gratitude begins before the solution. It starts in the middle of the test. It blossoms in the middle of difficulty. It says, even though I'm hurting, I still see blessings. Even though I'm struggling, I still see your mercy, O Allah. That kind of gratitude is transformational. It softens the heart, it expands patience, it brings a sense of peace that no material comfort can offer. It is not about ignoring pain, but about acknowledging blessings despite it. Look at the sky. The fact that you can see it is a blessing. Look at your hands. The fact that you can move them, feel with them, create with them, this is a blessing. The breath you just took, the heart that keeps beating without your effort, the roof over your head, the meal you had today, the family or friend who checks on you, these are all signs of Allah's generosity. But the challenge is that we become so used to these blessings that we no longer see them. Our focus shifts to what we lack instead of what we have. And when we keep looking at what's missing, our hearts become blind to the countless things that are present. Gratitude is a choice. It is not always the natural response. Sometimes your situation feels so heavy that gratitude feels unnatural, but that is when it is most needed. The believer trains their soul to see the light even in the shadows. This is not about being naive or unrealistic. It is about remembering that behind every difficulty there is a purpose, and behind every moment of ease there is a test. Sometimes we are tested with hardship to teach us patience. Other times we are tested with blessings to see if we will be grateful. Gratitude, therefore, is a test in itself. The Prophet was known to pray so long at night that his feet would swell. When asked why he did this despite being promised forgiveness, he replied, "Should I not be a grateful servant?" That is the highest level of gratitude, not out of fear, not because of need, but out of love and recognition of Allah's constant mercy. He didn't need anything, but he still expressed thanks through worship. That teaches us that gratitude is not only about saying thanks when we get what we want, but about living a life of thanks every day, regardless of what comes our way. One of the signs of a grateful heart is that it doesn't compare. It doesn't look at others and feel deprived. It doesn't say, why don't I have what they have? But rather says, Alhamdulillah for what I do have. Comparison is a thief of gratitude. It makes you overlook your blessings and chase what was never written for you. It causes unnecessary sadness and restlessness. But when you stop comparing and start appreciating, contentment takes root. You begin to feel rich, not in terms of wealth but in peace. You realize that what you have is more than enough because it is from Allah. Another way to express gratitude is through your actions. If you're thankful for health, use it in service. If you're thankful for time, don't waste it. If you're thankful for knowledge, share it. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a response. It is how you use what you have been given. And the more you show gratitude through your actions, the more blessings you are given. Allah promises this in the Quran: if you are grateful, I will surely increase you. This increases not only in quantity, but also in quality. Your heart increases in peace. Your faith increases in strength. Your perspective becomes clearer. Gratitude also has a direct impact on how you interact with others. A grateful person is more patient, more generous, more forgiving. When you appreciate what you have, you are not constantly chasing what others have. You are more present, you are more content. This makes your relationships healthier. You begin to appreciate people instead of resenting them. You focus on their good instead of magnifying their faults. And this attitude spreads. Just as negativity can be contagious, so can gratitude. A home filled with thankfulness is a home filled with light. Many times when we are in hardship, we ask, why me? But a person of gratitude says, what can I learn? That shift in mindset opens the door to wisdom. It allows you to grow rather than just endure. It turns hardship into a teacher rather than just a burden. Every test becomes a chance to reflect, to reassess, to realign your heart with what truly matters. Gratitude opens your eyes to the hidden blessings within the struggle blessings you may not have noticed had life remained easy. There are moments when gratitude is the only rope keeping you from falling into despair. When everything feels heavy, when the path ahead is uncertain, when hope feels distant, gratitude becomes your strength. It reminds you that you are still breathing, that you are still here, that Allah is still with you. That even now there are things going right, and sometimes that is enough to keep going, that is enough to find hope again. The heart that remembers Allah frequently becomes a heart that is naturally more grateful. When you say Subhanallah and reflect on His perfection, or say Alhamdulillah and reflect on His blessings, or say Allahu Akbar and remind yourself that He is greater than your problems, you are building a shield around your heart. A shield that protects you from hopelessness, a shield that softens the blows of life, and every time you remember Him in thanks, you are planting seeds of joy in your heart, seeds that bloom even when the world outside is grey. So even when your dua is not yet answered, thank Him. Even when the storm hasn't passed, praise Him. Even when you are still in pain, remember Him. Not because the situation is easy, but because your Lord is still worthy of thanks. He has carried you through so much already. He has protected you in ways you do not even know. And He has given you a heart that still remembers Him even in difficulty. And that alone is a blessing worth more than anything this world can offer. The more a believer learns to trust in Allah, the lighter the burdens of this world become. Trusting in Allah is not about expecting a life free of problems. It is not about assuming that every path will be smooth or that every prayer will be answered immediately in the way we desire. Rather, it is about surrendering the outcomes to the one who knows the unseen, the one who sees the full picture when we only see fragments. It is the calm in the middle of chaos, the stillness in the heart even when the world outside is shaking. It is the quiet certainty that no matter what happens, Allah is in control and His plan is always better than ours. Life is full of uncertainty. At times, decisions must be made with no guarantee of what the future holds. Relationships shift, opportunities come and go, health can change in an instant. In such a world, it is easy to fall into fear, doubt, or anxiety. But for the one whose heart is anchored in Tawakkul, true trust in Allah, those uncertainties lose their power to disturb. Because that person knows that nothing happens except by His will, and nothing escapes His knowledge or His mercy. Even the things we perceive as delays, denials, or detours are actually divine directions steering us towards something better. Trust in Allah means you do your part and then you let go. You plan, you work, you strive with sincerity, but you do not tie your heart to the outcome. Your heart remains attached only to the one who controls that outcome. That detachment is not a form of indifference, but of faith. It is a statement that says, "O Allah, I have done all that I can, and now I leave the rest to you." This trust liberates the soul from the obsession with control, from the fear of failure, from the constant stress of trying to manage everything alone. It replaces worry with peace and fear with serenity. One of the most beautiful aspects of trusting Allah is that it requires no detailed explanation or special qualifications. It is open to every heart that chooses to believe. A child who cries out to Allah for help is as heard as the scholar who makes dua with eloquence. Tawakkul is not about the perfection of your words, but the sincerity of your surrender. It is the belief that even when you do not understand the why, you are content because you trust the who. And that belief brings clarity in confusion, patience in trial, and strength in weakness. There are times when things do not go as planned, doors that you prayed for remain closed, paths you were excited to walk suddenly disappear. In such moments your trust is tested. It is easy to say I trust Allah when everything is going well. But the real test of that trust comes when nothing makes sense, when the heart feels heavy, when the tears won't stop. That is when trust becomes more than a phrase, it becomes an act of worship. It becomes a choice you make over and over again to believe that Allah's wisdom exceeds your own and that His love for you is greater than you can ever comprehend. The prophets, peace be upon them, were the best examples of tawakkul. They faced rejection, persecution, loss and hardship, yet they never gave up their trust in Allah. They never stopped calling to Him, relying on Him, leaning on Him. Prophet Ibrahim was thrown into the fire, yet his heart was at peace. Prophet Musa stood at the sea with Pharaoh behind him and nowhere to go, but he said with certainty, "My Lord is with me, and He will guide me." Prophet Muhammad, in the cave of Thawr with his life under threat, told his companion, "Do not be sad, indeed Allah is with us." These are not just stories, they are models of what it means to truly trust. Trusting Allah does not mean you will never feel sadness, fear, or uncertainty. It means that even with those emotions, you choose to keep going. You choose to keep praying, to keep believing, to keep walking forward, because you know that Allah never wastes your efforts, never overlooks your tears, and never abandons those who place their trust in Him. He is Al-Wakil, the best disposer of affairs. When you assign your matters to Him with a sincere heart, He manages them in ways you could never have imagined. Sometimes the doors He opens are better than the ones you prayed for. Sometimes the delays are actually protections. Sometimes the detours lead to destinations more beautiful than you dreamed. There is also great dignity in tawakkul. It preserves your self-respect because it teaches you not to beg from the creation. You do not need to chase after people's approval or fear their rejection. You realize that everything comes from Allah and no one can withhold what He has written for you. This makes your heart strong and your faith unshakable. You walk through life with your head held high, not because of arrogance, but because of confidence in your Lord. You no longer panic when plans change or when people disappoint you, because your heart is not attached to them, it is attached to Allah. Trust is also built through experience. When you look back on your life, you can see moments when things didn't go as you wanted, but eventually worked out in ways that were better for you. Maybe you didn't get the job you wanted, but later found something more fulfilling. Maybe a relationship ended, but it led you to something healthier. Maybe a hardship broke you temporarily, but it awakened your heart and brought you closer to Allah. These experiences are not random, they are reminders that when you trust Him, He always writes your story in the best way, even if you don't see it in the moment. To cultivate this trust, you must stay connected to your Lord. You must make dua often, not just in hardship but in ease. You must pray with your heart, not just with your body. You must learn His names and reflect on His attributes. The more you know who He is, the more you will trust Him. You cannot fully trust someone you do not know, but once you begin to truly know Allah as the most merciful, the most wise, the one who loves you more than your own mother, you will find it easier to surrender to Him. You will realize that you are not walking this path alone. Every step you take, every breath you breathe, He is with you. Even when your plans fall apart, His plan is unfolding perfectly. Even when you feel lost, He is guiding you. Even when everything seems against you, He is arranging things in your favor in ways you cannot yet see. So let your heart rest. Do what you can and leave the rest to Him. That is where peace lies. That is where strength is found. That is where true success begins. Trust is not weakness, it is not passive, it is the most powerful thing you can do, because when you truly trust Allah, you are never truly afraid again. You are never truly alone again. You are always carried, always protected, always guided. And in that reality, there is a sweetness that no hardship can take away. Brothers and sisters, as we reflect on these reminders, let us remember that the heart finds its true peace only in the remembrance and trust of Allah. No matter how uncertain life may seem, the believer walks with assurance, knowing that Allah never abandons those who rely on Him sincerely. Our strength is not in what we own or control, but in how deeply we trust the one who owns and controls everything. Keep your connection with your Lord alive, keep your prayers sincere, and your hope unwavering. Even when life tests you beyond what you think you can bear, trust that He is near, guiding you through every moment. Thank you for your time. May Allah bless you and keep you firm upon His path. Until we meet again, take care of your heart, keep it close to Allah, and never stop walking with trust and faith. Goodbye and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.